Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the EGU podcast for awakening and emerging conscious entrepreneurs and souls. This is a show to help you thrive in energy, mindset, business, and all things spiritual. You're with Michelle Reinhardt, and today I'm with Declan Edwards, who runs an Australian startup business called BU Coaching. And we are talking about learning to put yourself first. Welcome to the show, Declan.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. It's great to connect and through a lovely mutual friend. Thank you. Shout out to Mark Bowness. Thanks, Mark. So today we're going to cover off to learn the difference between traditional selfishness and healthy selfishness. Discover why putting everyone else first is detrimental to both you and them. To gain actionable strategies to help you put yourself first, as well as to be empowered to start saying no. So please, guys and girls, turn off your zings and pings for 30 minutes and allow the information we're about to share really soak into your conscious and your subconscious. That way we can help you make some really big shifts right here, right now. So Declan, how often do you come across people that are unable to put themselves first?
Yeah, every single day. It's actually remarkable how many people we've realised really struggle with it. And it's interesting to find that it's particular industries as well, which is quite fascinating for us. We call them the helper industries. So things like nursing, teaching, social work, even in coaching as well. People who have this drive and desire to give back and to help others, but by doing so, they're giving, and they're forgetting to give back to themselves every now and then, and look after their needs emotionally, physically, and mentally.
Do you know, that's interesting. All of those words you mentioned had an ing on the end of them. Coaching, and one you didn't mention that I'm sure it's very prevalent in is healing.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So how big's this problem, Declan?
We came to sort of discover last year as we're working with a lot of our clients that it was a lot bigger than we originally thought. Particularly, and I'm going to sort of generalize here, but particularly we found in women and mothers. And the more we explored that, the more we went, well, hang on, this makes sense, because on top of all the social conditioning, which I'm sure we're going to get into in this podcast about why it's so hard to put ourselves first, when a mother has a child, there is a part of her life when she has to put the needs of another living being before her. I mean, yeah. I'm not sure if you've seen how effective human babies are at looking after themselves when they first come out. Some would say not for 18 to 25 years.
Yeah, I'm in the 18-year bracket, and I agree.
So there's this part where, to help that child thrive, it's essential to look after its physical, mental, and emotional needs first. It's the priority. And that is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing for a mother to do. Unfortunately, what we see is that pattern and trait continues and then begins to expand. So now it's not just the kids first, it's the partner first, it's work first, it's my clients first, it's everyone before me. And that leads to burnout. Yeah,
I agree completely. And we mentioned before we hit record, and we should have done it a lot sooner. Often the juicy bits before the show starts. But we are raised to not be selfish.
Yeah, definitely, especially in Australia as well. So I was originally born in California, and I'm fortunate enough to go back to the US quite a bit. It's funny seeing the cultural difference. I sort of understand why there's that perception of a lot of Americans now as arrogant and selfish and putting themselves first. It's part of how they're raised.
Wow.
But on the flip side, we look in Australia, we've got tall poppy syndrome is a huge cultural phenomenon here of, look after yourself and do well, but don't do too well, because then you'll make other people feel bad. So just cut yourself back down to size. So you're right in that sense of we are trained from a young age to not only feel bad about putting ourselves and our needs first and to always prioritize others, but also have that sense of feeling guilty about pursuing success and fulfillment for ourselves.
Yeah, I agree completely. I want to just take us back a little step just to give you a little bit more authority for the viewers and the listeners here. I'd love to know, firstly, how did you end up being a coach? What inspired you?
Yeah, gotcha. So Well, I actually spent most of my life quite overweight and with very low self-confidence and self-esteem struggles. I like to say I had an identity crisis by the time I was 17 years old because I was busy living in everyone else's shadow. I'm the first male in many generations of my family to not be in the military. So for me to sort of step aside and go, well, who am I? Who do I want to be for myself? And not just live in other people's expectations or live up to what I think, they expect of me, was quite difficult. And over that time, I decided that at 17, I went, well, the reason I'm not happy is because I'm overweight, which I realize now was a mistake. It was sort of that external, condition on whether I loved and appreciated myself as a person. But the result of that was I lost 33 kilos in a year through all the wrong ways. Like I ended up with an eating disorder, in and out of hospital. And the wake-up call came at 19 when the doctors didn't know I had an eating disorder because I wasn't telling anyone, and they were coming in doing all these tests. And the doctor came in and said, we're going to test for bowel cancer. And I watched my mum, who's very much an important role model in my life, who's raised me, break down in tears. And I went, this isn't just affecting me anymore. This is affecting people I love.
Yeah.
This is not fair on them or on myself. And I made a decision to make a change. And I started working with coaches myself. I've been fortunate enough to work with coaches from a very early age. And that led me down the route of ending up in health and studying nutrition and PT to help people there. And then I came to realize that the thing I was most passionate about was learning how to help people truly thrive and have confidence in themselves and their life. Like learn how to tap into what's going on, in their head and in their mindset, in their psychology, that's stopping them from being able to truly love and appreciate who they are. As a result of that, I've been lucky enough to now study positive psychology, NLP, cognitive behavioral therapy, and bring all these really cool forward-thinking progressive strategies and techniques to other people's lives. And I'm truly grateful for it.
Wow, you really are talking my language, because there are almost, I don't know the percentage, but it's huge. People that are out there chasing success, happiness, value, they're chasing it out there in the world, and it's not out there in the world.
It was something I had to realize, and we call it the hedonic treadmill, that I'll be happy when.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if people are listening to this at the moment, they can think of a time in their life when they said, I'll be happy when I get the house, or I get that new job, or I get in a relationship, or I lose 5 kilos like I was telling myself. And then you get to the goal and you enjoy it for like 5 seconds. And then suddenly there's a new goal and happiness has moved around the corner. And I think you've hit the nail on the head when you say when we're searching for happiness outside of ourselves, it's a fickle little thing. Like it tends to move when we do that.
Yeah, it does.
And we learn to be happy within ourselves and within who we are. That's stable, and we can carry that through life no matter what life throws at us.
Absolutely right. And what really matters is how we honor, nurture, and love and respect ourselves, because that's the frequency and the vibration that goes out there to others. That's your attraction. And if that's going out there less than, then you're going to keep receiving less than.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Wow. Exciting. So I just want to take a moment to honour your journey, Declan.
Thank you.
Sometimes and most often, those of us that are called to do something greater have to go through something really, really huge personally to honour that. And you could have just as easily stayed overweight and unhappy and miserable. But instead, you've chosen to use that experience to empower and bring joy to other people. And I just really want to honour you for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's an amazing point. Someone asked me about it just the other day, actually, if I could go back and change anything, would I? Obviously, I still to this day live with a few struggles of the damage I did to my body through the eating disorder. I said, no, I wouldn't, because I love the Steve Jobs quote, we can't connect the dots of life looking forward. We can only do it when we look backwards. And I see now that all of that, as you said, had to happen in the order it did lead me to this beautiful place that I'm currently at. I'm very grateful and fortunate to genuinely love who I am and where I am in life. And that couldn't have happened without everything that happened leading up to it. So it's funny to look back on those struggles and challenges with gratitude and appreciation.
Yes, yeah. Many people I work with, until they realise that life is actually happening and unfolding for them, not to them. It's not a punishment. It's a blessing. And then it just seems to look completely different. It's like taking the glasses off and being able to see it for what it truly is. It's not a punishment. It's a joy.
Definitely.
Yeah. So where did the be you come from in your coaching?
Yeah, so BU, it's funny how many people we get who ask us this, what does the BU stand for? Because my name's Declan Edwards and my business partner is Jordan Jensen. They're like, what's not your initials? What is BU? And we look at them and go, BU. And they're, yeah, what is it? Like, what's the meaning? BU. And then there's this little light bulb moment when they go, oh, I get it, right?
Yeah.
So for us, we called it BU because we wanted it to represent something far greater than ourselves. Like, this has very rapidly become a movement and a philosophy that people are rallying behind. Is this sense of, for so many people, that is the hardest thing to do, to be themselves 100% authentically, confidently. We have one of our company values is be flawsome. Recognize the flaws that make you who you are, but that's also what makes you an awesome individual. And be able to appreciate those. So for us, it's that sense of helping people overcome self-doubt and anxiety and stress that comes from not accepting and appreciating who they are, to going, well, hang on, how can we help you just be you and do that authentically and powerfully and honestly? And that's such a pivotal change for people. So that's where the BU came from. It's this encompasses this big vision and philosophy that we have for how people can truly thrive in life.
Love it. I suspected that what it was, but I wanted to hear it from you. Very clever, very innovative. I love it. And simple. Simple. We do overcomplicate things. We have a habit of doing that. So, Declan, why do so many people struggle to put themselves first? Is there a psychological trigger, or what's the background of that?
Yeah, so there's a couple. As you mentioned already, there's the social conditioning of it's wrong to put ourselves first and to look after ourselves. And there's this idea of being selfish is a terrible thing. And most people, when you say to them, think of someone selfish, they automatically come up with the worst case outcomes and go, well, I don't want to be anything like that person. And to the people who are listening to this, I invite you to think, who comes to mind when I say think of someone selfish? And we normally have these negative associations with it that we're trained in with. Yeah. When we look psychologically at one of the driving needs for human beings, which is this need to belong and feel connected to other people and part of a group. If you go back thousands and thousands of years ago as we're evolving, we're mammals. And if you look at any other mammal, they hang out in groups, in herds, in tribes. And so did we. Yeah. And we did so for self-preservation. When we look at herds of animals, which animal's the first one to be picked off by the predator? It's the one that's left on its own.
Yeah.
So we have this inbuilt inherent fear of being rejected by others. It's actually one of the two fears that humans are born with. There's only two we're born with. One is abandonment or rejection. The other one is falling from high places, which is, probably useful to be falling. The thing with the rejection and the abandonment one is when we then tie that very early developed stage of the human brain that goes, I am so afraid of being rejected by others. I'm so afraid of being abandoned because I'm linking it to me dying, basically. If I'm on my own, I'm more likely to be picked off by a predator.
Yeah.
We can see why people are so afraid of putting themselves first, because then culturally it's, well, if you're putting yourself first, you're doing it to the detriment of everyone else in your group. So what's the group then going to do? Well, it's going to abandon me. And now I'm under physical threat. So we can see it makes so much sense when we look at the neuroscience and the psychology and the evolution of it all, why so many people have that fear of looking after themselves. It's because they're taking the traditional view of selfishness, which is, for me to put myself first, I have to do it at the detriment and expense of everyone else.
Yes. Yep, I get that completely. And the other big fear is also betrayal. That's got to come in there third, I think, because at some point in our lives we've all felt that betrayal, and it has left people feeling rejected and abandoned. So they're all very entwined, aren't they?
They are 100%.
They're really core beliefs and core values. So what do and I'm jumping ahead of myself, I'm getting too excited. So why is it important for people to be able to put themselves first?
So, to put it simply, it allows you to give more of yourself back to the people you love. It's that simple. And the way to explain it through analogy, we mentioned before that we have this link to traditional selfishness being, I'm putting myself first at the detriment and expense of others. And of course we want you to do that. For anyone listening to this podcast, please don't just go away and go, oh, well, I should start being selfish and put everyone else last. And through them, I'm looking after me, look after one another. That's not the case. It's going to be a very lonely life if we do that. But there's this other side of selfishness. We call it healthy selfishness. So healthy selfishness is I'm putting myself first emotionally, physically, and mentally so that I can give back even more to the people that I care about. The analogy we use for that is, we use two. One is you can't pour from an empty cup. So if your cup is empty, if you've given everything you've got and you're feeling burnt out, stressed, busy, exhausted, how are you able to bring your best self to your relationship, to your family, to your workplace, to all these other people? Well, you can't. You're running on empty.
No, that's
and the other analogy we use that really resonates with people is, think to the last time you're on a plane and they're giving the safety briefing. And they never say, in the case of an emergency, oxygen mask will drop from the ceiling. You should help everyone else put theirs on first before you touch yours. Otherwise, you're a selfish person and you're terrible. They say, put your mask on first and then help others around you. And we know that makes sense in an emergency situation. We go, well, of course, because if I don't, I'm not getting oxygen. How much use am I going to be to everyone else? But when we apply that to day-to-day life, I think a lot of people lose touch of that message and the value in that learning of going, well, hang on, if I'm putting my mask on first, if I'm looking after myself physically, mentally, and emotionally, I can help other people more. I can show up as my best self. And that is such a gift to give to not only you, but to the people you care about as well.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely vital to be able to step up there. Each of us have a unique gift and unique offerings. And unless you allow yourself the space to find out what that is and the confidence and courage to present that, playing small doesn't serve the world, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fantastic. And I knew you were going to, I wondered whether you were going to say the aeroplane mask, because that was the vision that came to my mind. I just saw all these masks falling down from.
Yeah, it's such a powerful one to just remember. Like, even for me to this day, being a coach, I've got that driving need to help people and give back. And it's still valuable for me to check in every so often and go, well, hang on, mate, have you put your own mask on today first?
Yeah.
Like, before we go out and we do these sessions, before we go and present, before we do this, have I looked after me first? And it's just that nice little visual reminder to go, okay, oxygen mask on, now let's go help.
Yes, I agree. That's what happened to me. So, Declan, you mentioned a difference between traditional selfishness and healthy selfishness. Yeah. Can you help us understand what you mean by that?
Yeah, so the best way to highlight that would be traditional selfishness is that one that we're raised to fear. The one that we're raised to, if I'm doing this, I'm going to be rejected and abandoned by my tribe. Obviously, therefore, it's triggering that very early stage fear. Traditional selfishness is I'm putting myself first and I don't care who I step on to do it.
Yeah.
That real negative approach to it's me and no one else. Who cares what anyone else thinks? Who cares what they need or want? I'm here to serve number one, right? And of course, we don't want people to do that. We don't want more people like that in the world, right?
No, we don't.
By trying to avoid that, too many people are automatically going, well, then I can never put myself first. Because if I do, I'm going to be traditional selfish. Whereas we're suggesting, well, instead of just going, well, I'm never putting myself first, or I'm putting myself first and at the detriment of others, try and find that other side of the coin, that healthy selfishness where, okay, I have permission to put myself first and to look after myself, and I'm doing it so that I can benefit other people. I'm doing it because I care about them. I'm doing it because I want to give back even more. And when we take that approach to it, when we flip that psychological association with selfishness from that really negative, self-interested one to, well, I'm doing this to serve and to give back and benefit not only myself, but my loved ones, it does become a lot easier to put it into practice.
Yeah, I have a saying I love to use. I love you, but I love me more.
Yes, I love that.
And it's so powerful because you do have to put yourself first, especially if you're newly listening to us and hearing our message today and you're resonating with it and you're thinking that that's just too big to go from selfish to selflessness. You've got to find that ground of self-love and value yourself enough to stand up and say, right, I am worthy. I'm worth this. I need to do this for me. As you say so well, Declan, so that I can help you in return.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful thing when you're stepped in your power in love and you are then able to just vibrate that out. Just really, it's a beautiful thing, and it's actually easier than one would think once you have the right support and the right people around you to help you learn that. Yeah. So I love this. This has gone into a beautiful heart level. Many coaches that I interview on the show are rah, 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 and you got to do this and you got to do this. But the truth of it is, if you're not right in your heart and you're not right in yourself and you don't feel good, because our feelings are they're the barometer, aren't they? If you feel crap, what you're doing is not right. Yeah, so if you're feeling like this is really something that you would love to take on, then I'm going to encourage you to reach out to Declan. All of his details are in the notes, and I'll give you more information soon. But before we even go there, what would you suggest your 3 biggest takeaways would be, Declan, for people that are ready and willing, whether they're just doing this now, learning, starting, or even they've got a beautiful, thriving business and they want to go to the next level? What would be your big takeaways for our listeners?
So the first one would be to explore how you feel about putting yourself first. You know, whether you do that through meditation or active journaling, or you work with a coach or you do an online course, just begin exploring, well, how do I feel about putting myself first? And just note whether you're leaning more towards that, well, that means I'm being traditionally selfish and of course I'm not going to do it. Or if you do now see, as a result of this podcast, the other side and go, oh, hang on, I can do this in a way that's really beneficial. So that'll be step one, sort of check in with where you're at as an individual. You know, it's always fun speaking on a podcast to give advice and guidance. It's very much the first step is always, well, where are you at as an individual? Because I like to say I'm the expert on emotional intelligence and human behavior, but you're the expert on you. So we need to work as a partnership. So step one would be check in with where you are and see how you feel about it. Step two, if you're then going, okay, I'm realizing that I've got all these negative associations with selfishness and it's causing me to be burnt out, exhausted, stressed, fatigued, and I'm struggling with anxiety. Step two would begin building your emotional intelligence. As you said, our emotions are the core, like the root of everything. They're a feedback mechanism that tells us what we're doing in life, whether it's on, you know, authentic to us or not. They're the things that drive our behavior. You know, so many people that we work with want to get a different result. So they say, help me change my behavior. And we say, well, what's the emotion behind the behavior? Because we're not logic driven, we're driven by feeling. So
that's right. Yeah.
Leverage point is always.
Sorry, so many people are really starting to get that now.
Yeah, and it's needed. So it makes longer changes that are sustainable. You know, for too long, the answer's been, well, if you want a different result, just do a different behavior. But then you're relying on willpower. So the second step I always say to people is explore the emotion and feeling behind it and build your emotional intelligence. Yeah. That is essential. And then the third step, and I'm obviously a little biased here, but speaking from my personal experience as well, work with a mentor or a coach or someone who can help guide you, simply for the point of having someone there, A, to keep you accountable, B, to, rather than you having to reinvent the wheel, to give you the blueprint that came beforehand, and also to see what you can't see in yourself. Like, I've been working with coaches for 7 years and I still work with coaches because as much as I've studied and I have this knowledge and expertise, my coaches are still able to go, well, mate, have you noticed this? And I'm like, oh, no, I haven't. But now I see it. Let's do something with it. Like, it's just that, you know, we like to say, why did Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, have a running coach? His coach couldn't run faster then, but his coach could see things Usain couldn't. And it's the same in us. It's the same in business. It's the same in relationships. And my first coach said to me, when we care as much about our results in our emotional well-being in life as we do the results in sport, everyone will have a coach.
Yes. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. You're absolutely right. And yeah, I love that analogy with the Usain Bolt, because yeah, we do. We all need someone to guide us along, whether you consider your parent your mentor or what. You know, we all have someone that we look up to, that we respect. And I too work with a coach. I have done for years and years. In fact, when I started working with a coach was when my life started to shift.
Yep.
Because we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, to challenge the perception that a lot of people unfortunately still have, reaching out for help and guidance and working with a coach or a mentor, and it doesn't matter, as you said, if it's in a professional sense, it could be your parents, it could be your best friend. It doesn't matter, as long as you've got someone who's helping you, guiding you and challenging you a bit, right, and going, well, have you seen it from this angle? That doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're damaged. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you and you need help. It means you're efficient. Right? It means you're willing to go, I don't have all the answers. You know, I'm humble. Yeah. I'm going to reach out and ask for some help and guidance so that I can develop as a person quicker. And as you mentioned, the moment you start working with a coach, you start getting these amazing changes. It's the same with me and my coaches. And now I'm very grateful to say with me and my clients.
Yes.
I think some people still struggle with that idea of, well, if I ask for help, it means there's something wrong with me. That's not the case at all. It's just being
I agree with you. No one's broken. No one needs fixing.
100%.
We just need to evolve. We need to take that next step forward and stop looking into our past for the answers, because they don't lie there. Not necessarily. The lessons are all there, that's for sure, but not necessarily the path forward. So we've got to explore how you feel about putting yourself first. Really feel into that tangibly and get in touch with that emotion. And then, you know, make the steps to put yourself first. Building your emotional intelligence. And then there was also the being able to say no is a skill that can be developed. Yeah,
definitely. It's such a very powerful and tangible tool for people to begin practicing, because it's one of the first signs of struggling to put our own needs first. And we've all done it. You know, everyone listening, I know that there'd be a time in your life where maybe your boss said, can you stay back late tonight? And in your head, you're like, no, I don't want to do that. But somehow a yes slipped out. And, you know, we've all done it in different situations. That is such a telltale sign of, I'm not okay with putting my needs before this other person's. In the case of the example there, it's, I'm not okay with putting my needs and my family needs ahead of my boss's. Yeah. And the more we explore that, the more we start to go, well, hang on, that's something that we can begin practicing straight away to cement that change, to go, well, I am okay with this. And I see the value in it. You know, you're not saying no to your boss to be a jerk.
Exactly.
You're saying no because you've got other priorities that are more important. And when we step into those and lean into those, you know, one of the best things I can say is every time you say yes to someone, you're also saying no to something else. So in that example, when you say yes, staying back at work when you don't want to, you've also said no to spending more time with your family at home.
Agreed.
So what's more important?
Yeah.
Because you're going to say no anyway, right? So you might as well vocalize it.
That's right. Look, there is always a bigger picture, isn't there? When you zoom out for a bit and have a look from a different vantage point and get your priorities right. I come across way too many people that actually don't know what they want.
Yep.
They have no roadmap. They have no what success means. If they're still doing this, I'll be happy when. But when?
Yep.
You know, be happy now and then get there. Yeah. Oh, Declan, I know you empower people to overcome self-doubt, stress and anxiety, and you help them do that by utilising evidence-based methods and also enhancing self-confidence and purpose. I can hear it all. I can feel the passion in you. I'm excited, and I know that your clients will be getting great results.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Where can people find you to get more support and really start shifting their realities?
Yeah, so the best way to get started is to check out our website, so www.bucoaching.org. It's got a bunch of information up there, some fun articles, as well as some useful tools you can use to get started. The other one is check out our Facebook page by searching BU Coaching. Just let us BU and Coaching on Facebook. We put out free content about 5 times a week of these videos that people can then watch and use and learn to go make change in their life. And I know, Michelle, that I've sent you the info for one of our online courses that people can get started with as well, the 5 Steps to Meaningful Change. We're giving that away for free to anyone who's listening to the podcast. It's a good way to get started, just to have, as you mentioned, that roadmap. That, okay, here are tangible steps you can use to start actually making long-term meaningful change within yourself and your life.
Love it. And the information for the course, guys and girls, is down below in the show notes. Thank you, Declan. That's very, very generous. And I love the, I'll be jumping on and getting onto your Facebook page as well.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Declan, I'd love to just, again, acknowledge your journey and your commitment and contribution to helping people grow, not only grow, to thrive. It's exactly why we're here. And yeah, I'm thrilled that we've connected, and I'm delighted that this message is going out to a greater audience.
You and I both, and I do want to take a moment to obviously thank you as well for obviously having me on the show and allowing me this space to share my knowledge and my journey. And I know that you've gone through your own journey to get here, so straight back at you. It's a beautiful thing that you've done to make the decision to facilitate this and to give back in such a beautiful way. Thanks,
Declan. Yeah, we do forget sometimes. We just keep going and keep looking more and more, but it's lovely to have that brought back. Thank you. I appreciate your words.
Thank you.
So look, if you'd like to work with Michelle, me, or if your life's not where you're going, you're wanting it to go, let Declan and I remind you that you don't have to do this alone. Mm-hmm. The journey of a lifetime begins with one single step. You've made that step already today by tuning in to the end of the recording, and we want to thank you for that and congratulate you on that giant step forward. So to make it to the next level in business, you've heard us say it, you will need support, you will need accountability, and we also need someone to help us understand why we're holding ourselves back. Because once you step over that threshold and realize how magnificent you are, we can't stop you then. Your life will take on a whole journey of its own, and you will find that miraculous and remarkable things are waiting out there for you just to grab hold of and run with. That's what we want to see for you. So please come and join us in our community at Entrepreneurs Globally Unite on Facebook. And for now, I'd love to send huge blessings, love and light into your journey. If we can support you, nurture you and help you, reach out. We're here for you. Declan, thank you once again for your time. Lovely having you with us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye for now.